Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Harmony Grammar 3. Harmony Grammar, 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 Harmony Grammar. Harmony grammar, 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 harmony grammar. Hey, okay, harmony grammar, 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 harmony. Harmony grammar. Okay, so this is Harmony Grammar 3 now, and it's it's about 2.5 weeks now since I've been on. You ain't kidding, man. 2.5 weeks, this is all like that. I don't believe it. You know, she's such a narcissist. You know, being off off YouTube for 2.5 weeks is just over nuts. No, you didn't. You did not repeat this shit. Not me. No, not me. I just admit my fans. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Fans, all 3 of them or 4 of them or whatever. So anyway, okay, Hammer Grammar here. It's just kind of like, holy cow! I was just like, I just didn't feel like I was prepared for some of the stuff that I was going to go through. I was going to go through on like, I started the section like with verbs. Then I was going to carry over with it, but then I realized I came across something like I didn't learn it in grammar school, and I'm looking at this and this term, and I'm realizing just how important this part of a verb is to grammar. And it's just like, I don't ever remember like in grammar school or like any emphasis on this, but like it's so common, this type of verb in our language, and it's just like it needs to be covered. So I think like I'm going to, before I like really get into like the tenses, like the 12 tenses of the verbs, before I get into that, I'm going to cover this today, and it's called the bare infinitive. Okay. So if you're familiar at all with the infinitive, that is the verbal to plus the verb, like to walk, to talk, to go, and the be verb is to be, okay? But the bare infinitive is the verb, is the infinitive without the word to, okay? So let me see if I can get this going here. I got a little extra lighting today. I don't know if that's going to help, but okay. Okay, so the infinitive, say the verb walk is to walk, okay? The bare infinitive is walk, all right? It is without the word to. That is the bare infinitive, okay? Infinitive without to is the bare infinitive, all right? So, okay, let's just like take a look for a second, like how it's just so common and it's all over the place, and I didn't even realize it, okay? You know, what a bare infinitive is, all right, and where it is, okay? But like, take a look at these sentences, for instance. This is like your mom, you know, talking to you or talking about your brother or something like that, okay? And it's just like, help John bring in the groceries, okay? Bare infinitive is bring, okay? Now, you could also get away with, say, help John to bring in the groceries. You can get away with that also, okay? But, you know, help John to get it, to bring in the groceries, or help John bring in the groceries, all right? But it's like, bring is an infinitive. It's like the same thing as to bring. But here we have certain verbs, and a lot of them are like called like sense verbs, like to feel, to see, to hear, okay? Those kind of sense verbs. They will, you know, depending on the type of sentence you have, they will bring about bare infinitives, okay? So it's just like, okay, like, look, these are just common sentences, and I feel like bare infinitives have to be covered. Help John bring in the groceries, okay? Let John cut the grass. All right, this is like your mom saying these things, right? Make John clean his room, all right? And it's, by the way, the subject is the implied you, okay? If you can see that there, subject implied you. You make John clean his room, okay? But these are imperative sentences, so these are sentences that give commands. So the you is never written out, but it's understood, okay? And that is the subject. So it's an implied subject. You is not there, and but it's understood to be there, okay? So you is the subject, okay? And Okay, make is the verb, is what you call a finite verb. I'll get into that in a second. All right, you make John clean his room. All right, make John clean his room. Okay, see spot run. It wasn't like, I think you start out like learning something like that, right? In like very basic grammar books. But like, do they bother telling you like run happens to be a bare infinitive? Right? It's see spot to run. Right? That's what it's like. Okay, but it's see spot run. Okay, and watch spot run. All right. So I mean, these are like common everyday sentences. All right, spoken, and it's just kind of like, why isn't it like more coverage on like a bare infinitive? Now, here's something that blew my mind about what a bare infinitive also is. Okay, and where it's located. All right, and this surprised me. Okay, because you don't learn it. I didn't learn this stuff. No, well maybe they did teach it and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But like, okay, let me get down to here. All right, you see this right here? You have down here, it goes on the bottom, I will walk. Okay? You know what that is? That's a bare infinitive. Walk is a non-finite verb. Okay, a non-finite verb, it also happens to be a bare infinitive. But, okay, walk is to walk. Okay? If that's an infinitive there. Really? I mean, I just found this out. That's why you haven't seen me in like 2 weeks, because I had to do a lot of reviewing on this kind of stuff and, just trying to get it down and get it right, So like, my whole style of like hammering the grammar is just like, I'm going to keep reading about grammar, watching videos about grammar, writing about grammar, just hammer the grammar. I may make mistakes because like, just in a learning phase myself with a lot of this stuff, but like, I'm going to share what I learn. Okay. And like, my goal is to become a good artist. So, and my foundation is going to be like with grammar and spelling, and then with writing and writing music, and then playing musical instruments and singing and stuff like that. I think they're all like good brain exercises and stuff, and you just keep pushing forward. Become a good artist. Okay. So anyway, all right. So there again, all right. You see, walk. I will walk. I should walk. I can walk. Okay. Those are all. The walk is a non-finite verb. All right. All right, and non-finite verbs follow the modals. Can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would. All right? I'm kind of bouncing around all over the place here. So let me see if I have a starter page here, if that was my starter page. That could have been my starter page here. All right. Here we go. Patriots coming up in a couple of days, huh? Unbelievable. How many Super Bowls they won. But it's like, I don't know, it's like I was talking with some guy at Delhi, a couple of weeks ago. And he's talking about how great Brady is. I'm talking about Joe Montana. I say I'm more impressed with Joe Montana. It was different back then. I mean, they didn't really hold back against quarterbacks. I mean, it was like kill the quarterback back in those days. I mean, you had less rules and protection for the quarterbacks, and also the defensive backs could do a lot more holding and grabbing and whatnot to tie up the receivers and bumping and all that stuff that you can't do nowadays. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't touch the receivers. So it's just a lot easier to like have a more explosive offense. And plus you're dealing with free agency and parity football. If you have a great team, the problem is you can't hang on to everybody, because you have the salary cap. But, back in Joe Montana's day, there was those super teams built up back then with Dallas and Pittsburgh. And, they built up dynasties because they don't lose a bunch of players to free agency every year. So, I mean, this with the great quarterback that the coach Bill Belichick has, the great quarterback and Tom Brady, plus this parity football, which is like you got a bunch of mediocre football going on there. Belichick's just real good at picking up free agents and just molding them good enough into the Patriot system. And he's not beating super teams. He's just beating, above average teams. They can't be super teams like they used to be back in the day because you can only have so many good players and then you're going to lose players to free agency. You know, back in the day with the Pittsburgh Steelers, they couldn't hang on to all the players that they had when they won 4 Super Bowls with Terry Bradshaw. They had on that team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had what they called the steel curtain, and you had, I mean, you had about like 8 or 9 guys who were like all pro out of 11 players on the defense. It was ridiculous, you know, and you know that went on for years. But it was like Mean Joe Green and Ernie Holmes, Elsie Greenwood, Dwight White. That was on the front line. You know, they're all like all pros. And you know, Mean Joe Green was a superstar. Okay, and then the linebackers was only like Andy Russell, Jack Ham, Jack Lambert. Okay, and then in the secondary you had who was it, Mike Wagner, I think was the safety, and you had Mel Blount out there. I mean, are you kidding me? That's like 9 all pros on the defense, and it's like year after year after year after year. You got to face that. They're not going anywhere, right? There's no free agency to break up that team, you know. And then like a little while later, Joe Montana came along, but like he's facing teams that are really stacked, you know. And so anyway, Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls. He never threw an interception in a Super Bowl, but he did get lucky because one should have been picked off in a Cincinnati game. He threw it right at a Cincinnati player. The guy dropped it. And I think it was like the very next play, Joe Montana threw a touchdown, and that was the touchdown pass at the end of the game. They went like something like 89 yards to win the game right at the end there, and that one Super Bowl against the Bengals. And that was like when they were driving like 89 yards or something like that down the field. Joe Montana's like in the huddle on this final drive, and like he's going like, "Hey, look, there's John Candy on the sidelines." And you know, when you think like the intensity and like, you know, going down to the final drive and they got to score to win the game, you know, to win the Super Bowl, and, you know, in the meantime, Joe Montana is like telling his players that, you know, look over on the sidelines. There's John Candy, you know, the comedian, the actor. But anyway, okay, that's good. You know, this is good hammer to grammar, right? Okay, so anyway, you know, you know what? I told you, man. The Patriots are going to win. The Patriots. The Patriots. You know, I said I'm not my team. The Patriots. What a champ. What a champ. I told you. Okay. Well, we'll see. But you know, it's I don't know. Now I don't know what's going to go on with that game, New England and. I tell you, man, go. Come on, Eagles. You gotta go. You gotta beat the stupid Patriots. I can't stand them. The W team. No, you can forget about it. Forget about it. The Eagles are like you, the losers. No way, man. No, Tom Brady's 55 years old. You know that he's gonna maybe put a mutter at something right away, and then that'd be it for him. No, I don't think so. Rudy. I'll get at my Tom Brady voodoo doll. Hey, come on now. Be easy with that stuff, man. That voodoo stuff. Okay. So, it's going to be a 2-parter here. It's got 13 minutes and 20 seconds here. All right, so, okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so let's go back here and start at the beginning, all right? All right, hammer to grammar. Okay, so we got like here, we got, all right, I'll start off with a sentence here, right? Here we go. Sentence has 1 subject plus 1 finite verb. You know, 1 subject plus 1 verb, okay? But the finite verb, okay, what is a finite verb? Well, we'll get to that. Subject, okay, is the person or thing that you're talking about, okay? The subject is the person or thing that you're talking about. The subject is the name of a person, place, or thing. The subject is the person or thing that you're talking about, okay? All right, and what is a verb? Okay, and I'll say even like a finite verb here is what you're saying about the subject. Okay, so you have the subject is the person or thing you're talking about, and the verb is what you're saying about the subject. The verb is what you're saying about the subject. The verb is what you're saying about the subject. Okay, the subject is the person or the thing, and the verb is what you're saying about the subject. Okay, that's all it is. Let's keep it simple, man. Let's keep it simple, okay? All right, finite verb. All right, let's see. Finite verb. Okay, here's the key thing on the finite verb. Tells time. Tells time. Tells time. Finite verb tells time. All right? Boy, if you're learning grammar from me, you're in trouble. All right, finite verb tells time. Okay.